Hi, welcome to the show. Governor DeSantis is in Japan. He will join us tonight, and we'll check in with him. Also, we're going to ask whether he plans to run for president. We'll talk about his trip abroad. Whoever gets nominated by the GOP will likely face that guy, the guy that does not know today's Monday. He's 82 years old, and all we know is he likes ice cream, and he can't speak very well. Anyway, Joe Biden, your cognitively struggling Democratic president, is now planning to announce his re-election bid tomorrow. Now, here's where it gets very interesting. Even though almost no one in America wants him to serve a second term, we're not even sure he can get through the first term. Now, it's true. Tulsi Gabbard will weigh in tonight right here in studio with us. Also, West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin will join us tonight. Now, remember, he made a deal with Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden on the critical issue to his state. It's called energy, right? We need to be energy independent, energy dominant. It looks like they have broken their promise to him. Joe Manchin is not happy about it. He is rightly criticizing that, criticizing runaway spending sprees by his own party. He is slamming the president's what he's calling deficiency of leadership, and he's praising House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and rightly saying that Biden needs to, what is day 81 or 2? He needs to sit down with McCarthy and negotiate a deal on the debt ceiling. But is it too little, too late? I don't know. Also tonight, Jimmy Fallon, Dagan McDowell, they will help us bid farewell to fake news enthusiasts. Sad news, Don Lemon is out at CNN. But we begin tonight. I want you to follow this monologue closely. This matters. The walls are now closing in. We can report tonight on the Biden family syndicate. Don't take my word for it. Let's go to Vanity Fair, a left-wing magazine. Quote, federal prosecutors now are considering 4 charges against Hunter Biden. Here's NBC News saying the same. Same report. The impending charges include at least 1 felony count of tax evasion, along with a felony firearms charge. Based on several breaking reports, there are indictments possibly even as early as this week. The week his father will announce his re-election plans. Now, according to even fake news CNN, Hunter Biden's lawyers are meeting with DOJ officials in the coming days. Oddly enough, Hunter's criminal case has been revived from the dead only days after a career IRS supervisor filed for official whistleblower protection, accusing the federal government of shielding Hunter from criminal charges. Now, this claim is corroborated by NBC. Quote, 2 senior law enforcement sources telling NBC News about growing frustration inside the FBI because investigators finished the bulk of their work on this case about a year ago. Now, they recently reportedly have sufficient evidence now to charge Hunter Biden, but thanks to the IRS whistleblower, we can now only make the conclusion that the Attorney General of the U.S. is now apparently standing in the way and then attempting to cover his tracks in front of Congress. Now, that raises a question. Did the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, lie to Congress? Thus far, the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney in this case has been prevented from bringing charges or fully even exercising his authority. In fact, the whistleblower purportedly now has hard evidence that the testimony you're about to hear from Merrick Garland is absolutely false and that he knew it at the time. Take a look.
Does the Delaware U.S. attorney lack independent charging authority over certain criminal allegations against the president's son outside of the District of Delaware?
He would have to bring, if it's in another district, he would have to bring the case in another district. But as I said, I have promised to ensure that he's able to carry out his investigation and that he be able to run it. And if he needs to bring it in another jurisdiction, he will have full authority to do that.
All right, Attorney General Merrick Garland is not the only top federal official running cover for the Biden syndicate. Now, you might remember the bogus October 2020 letter. Remember 51 former Intel experts all claiming that the Hunter Biden laptop story had, quote, all of the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. Well, none of these Intel experts, not one, had any knowledge at all about the laptop. By the way, that laptop was in the hands of the FBI since December 2019. They could have authenticated that laptop in 48 hours. Anyway, so the 51 were convinced to sign a letter anyway. And by the way, the person that convinced them is your now Secretary of State, Tony Blinken. He was working as a foreign affairs advisor for the Biden campaign. The FBI had it since December 2019. They likely knew it was real. They also knew it would likely leak because they knew that Rudy Giuliani, then President Trump's attorney, had a copy of it. So Tony Blinken, had no reason to doubt the contents of Hunter's hard drive. But the truth, that doesn't matter to Tony Blinken. He is a liar. He is a hack who helped Biden wage what is a disinformation campaign against you, the American people. Every one of you, they lied to you. They lied because they wanted to help Joe Biden. Anyway, all in the lead up in the weeks before the 2020 election. Let me put it a different way. Did Blinken commit fraud against you, the American people? Did he interfere in our electoral process in order to push this feeble-minded, corrupt boss hiding in his basement over the finish line? In other words, is this a legal conspiracy if you defraud on purpose without any evidence the American people? Did he get promised a job to be Secretary of State in the process? Make no mistake, Garland and Blinken didn't stick their necks out for Hunter Biden. This really is not about Hunter. This is important to understand. When we now peel back what we know about all of this, Hunter's possible crimes, and you take a really hard look at all the finances, what Comer and his committee and Jordan and his committee are now discovering, we are beginning to see that the big guy, Joe Biden himself, is implicated in very troubling behavior. Thanks to Chairman Comer's ongoing probe in the House Oversight Committee, we're now learning more about shell corporations we had never heard of before. We're learning about LLCs with no clear purpose at all. In other words, they have no clear business purpose. We're getting these suspicious activity reports from banks and huge payouts from our geopolitical foes. Why are the Bidens getting money from China, Russia, Ukraine, and over a dozen other countries? And get this, according to Comer, quote, China was probably the most reputable country that the Biden family was dealing with. That's a statement. Now, first, it was only 3 Biden members we suspected being a part of this. Last week, then, they said it was 9 Biden family members. Now they're telling us that at least 12 Biden relatives received some of this money from this, quote, business, or as we affectionately call it on this program, a syndicate. And still, Comer can't find any information about what the multi-million-dollar business actually did. Now, they certainly weren't paying zero-experience Hunter Biden for his expertise because he had none. So tonight, America needs answers. Here's the answers we need. Is Merrick Garland running interference and protecting the Biden family? Did Tony Blinken conspire to lie at the highest level to the American people in the lead up to a presidential election to impact that election? And the most important question here is about Joe Biden himself. Is he corrupt and compromised as a U.S. president? We know that he lied to you, the American people, when he said not once did he ever speak to his son Hunter about his foreign business dealings. How much money did the Biden family do in business with China, with Russia, with Ukraine, and according to James Comer, a dozen other countries? How much profit did they make? How much did Joe himself get? Well, tonight, the walls are finally closing in on the Biden family syndicate. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.